Thank you so much to Tarot Stack for sponsoring today's video. Hello there, my beautiful cozy babes, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Chloe Taylor, and on this channel, I believe we have one of the most cozy, vibey, autumnal corners of the internet. Now, if you're seeing this video the day that it goes live, happy Valentine's Day. If not, of course, my readings, I genuinely and generally channel them most often to be timeless. So whenever you're seeing this, it's the right time. Today's reading is really special because it is sponsored by Tarot Stack, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but I'm also following my own guide for this reading. So I actually do private readings on my website, KhloeNegrete.com. And one of the private readings I listed during this time period is an ultimate self-love reading. And these have gone so well with my private clients that I wanted to give them to the public as well in a pick a card style. So basically, if you want to know more about what this reading entails, allow me to tell you. If you feel like you just want to get into it and see what this reading has in store for you, of course, the timestamps will be listed down below for you. You can go ahead and go there. But if you want to know a little more, stick around with me. So I have this graphic that I created actually on, it's on my website as well, but basically, we're going to do 7 different questions that go with this reading, addressing them with the tarot and, of course, with the presence of your guides. So the first question we're going to be addressing is how you see yourself. Then we're going to be looking at why you don't prioritize your own needs. Then we're going to be looking at how you can show yourself that it is safe to be yourself. Then we are going to be looking at how can you be more authentic. Then we're going to be looking at what do you need to let go of. Then we're going to be looking at something that you need to know right now. And lastly, a message from your guides. So this is going to be a very powerful, like, bring your tissues, go brew, pause the video, go brew yourself a cup of tea or coffee, or, get your iced coffee, shake it around if you need to, and really like put yourself in a cozy place for this reading, because I anticipate that I will probably cry, because I feel like we all need that gentleness with ourselves, with each other. And I want this reading to really be that for you today. So pile number 1 has the Heart Rose Quartz. Pile number 2 has an Aura Quartz. And pile number 3 has a Rose Quartz Point. I brought out lots of Rose Quartz today. I have my, also this beautiful backdrop that's got the pink tone coming in strong up here, mostly for Valentine's Day, but also to bring in the energy of self-love and self-acceptance. So like I said before, you can choose to head down to the timestamps down below, get into your reading 1, 2, or 3, and let's get into it. Yeah, we're going to start from pile number 1, of course, per the usual. And before we get into it, if you're unsure, if you've never seen one of these before, just know that it's okay to choose more than one. It's okay to choose all 3. It's okay to choose half of a pile, half of another pile. It is completely up to you. Customize your own experience. And ultimately, I just want to serve you today. And, send you a huge blast of loving, healing, authentic energy. So we're going to go ahead and get into it, starting from pile number 1, and let's go. Before we get into your reading, I just want to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, which is Tarot Stack. Tarot Stack is an online website that is dedicated to getting independent tarot creators' decks out into more people's hands. Their decks are truly some of the best that I have ever used. My favorite tarot decks of all time are all from Tarot Stack, all from independent artists. And the ones that you see in your reading today, every single deck is going to be from Tarot Stack. So I'm really excited to share those with you. And if you're looking for a deck for a special someone right now, or even just to update your own collection, or maybe you've never purchased one before, now is the time to start. Something I really love and appreciate about Tarot Stack is that their decks come from independent artists. So you're not hitting that mass marketing that you can get on other websites. This is actually from people that want to get their decks out into the world more well known, and it comes from a smaller creator, so you can rest easy knowing that you are supporting small business as well, and supporting those independent artists that really, I think they all deserve a chance. And I love knowing that, I can have my integrity about me while I am shopping for something that I obviously really love to do. If you've seen my YouTube channel, unless this is your first time here, then maybe you don't know. But yeah, honestly, just check them out. You will not be disappointed. I truly believe they have something for everyone, and I hope that you find something that suits your needs as well. Who knows? Maybe you'll see something in this video today that really catches your fancy. In any case, be sure to check them out. Their link is going to be down below for you. It's tarotstack.com. And thank you again so much, TarotStack. I literally jump at every single chance that I get to work with TarotStack because they're just a company that I believe has a lot of integrity, and I'm so overjoyed that we continuously work together. So thank you so much, TarotStack. Now on with your reading. All right, pile number 1. If you chose the Rose Quartz Heart, this is going to be your reading. So first, let's go ahead and get this little root. I don't even know if you'll be able to hear it, but we're going to try to get the energy feeling really nice and calm here. This is a root chakra chime that one of my really close friends gifted me. Okay. And then we're going to put this up here, and we're actually going to start. We will be using this deck and a couple and 2 others, but we're actually going to start with this Cupid Says deck, of course, from TarotStack. And we're just going to kind of before we get into the other questions that I mentioned in the description or in the intro to the video, we're just going to kind of catch a vibe, I guess. We're going to catch a vibe of the energy right now. Oh, we got 2, which I was going to draw 2 anyway, but let's see. We got, oh my God. See, I told y'all I was going to cry in this reading. We literally got, you are incredible. Do you know that? Do you know? Do you know how incredible you are? Do you know how worthy of celebration you are? Do you know what a miraculous thing it even is that you are in the form that you're in the position you're in the body that you're in the space that you're in the community that you're in, whether you feel like you're surrounded by a ton of people or not, your energy is incredible. And your guides really want you to know, do you know how incredible you are? Wow. Okay, how's that for a ringer right out the gate? And then we have, darling, this feels so right. I think this is a confirmation to any of you that chose this pile that you chose the right one. If you were somebody that was like, I don't know, and you hemmed and hawed over this a lot, you chose correctly. I'm going to pull one more off the top. I am yours. So I have a guide that's coming through in this reading that's like really lighthearted. This might be really specific for like one person here, unless some of y'all share guides, which does happen. But I am yours. This is you need to know that your guide is very present. This guide is making themselves known. I feel like they do this a lot in tarot card readings, whether you see somebody like one-on-one or you watch more on YouTube. This guide always makes themselves known to you. That's funny. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're now going to get into the other questions. So we're going to use 2 tarot decks for these. We're going to use this one, which is one of my personal favorites. That is called the Final Rose Tarot. I just love the aesthetic of these cards. They're just like pink and red, which is absolutely my vibe. And especially for my podcast, the Cozy Babes Club, this is like my colors are definitely pink and red for that podcast. So it's also giving Valentine's, and it's like a deck that I've never seen before. It's really cool. All right, we're going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm just going to set this deck right over here because we're going to draw from it continuously throughout this reading. And then we're also going to be using the Gentle Heart Tarot. So another pink deck that I want to use in this reading. And so we might get like duplicate cards, which also just amplifies any messages we might get. You can tell that this deck of mine is very well loved because the cards are like really bendable and flexed out. But such a good, so good. Okay. So the first question that we're going to be addressing, I'm just going to set this over here. The first question we're going to be addressing is, if I could look at my image again, here we go. So how you see yourself, how I see myself. We have the Four of Mirrors, which says reassuring rose, and the Nine of Crystals. So crystals in this deck represent wands, and roses in this deck represent wands as well. So you got 2 wand cards here, or no, I'm sorry, 4 of mirrors. The mirrors actually represent swords. So I think you see yourself as lazy right now. You see yourself as like lazy or unproductive, but something that you need to know, pile number 1, is that number 1, you're not. Laziness is literally a myth, doesn't exist. That is definitely something that capitalism created. Laziness is not real. Either you need a break or you don't. Like, period. Laziness is not real. There is like demotivation. Obviously, there are things like depression, anxiety, lots of things that could keep us feeling down and stuck. But actual laziness is not real. Now, the Four of Mirrors, though, it is a call to rest more, because I do feel like you've been through a lot. I think you've experienced a lot. I think you've been through a lot of transformations in your life. I'm hearing that at least one of you, possibly many of you, have gone through like a transformation of like maiden to motherhood, or you've gone through a transformation being single to being with a partner, or moving houses, becoming somebody different than you were at an earlier point in your life, and you haven't had enough time to integrate. So ultimately, how you see yourself right now, I think, is really run down and in need of a lot of rest. And I just really want to assure you, pile number 1, that there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. It's okay. There's no judgment here. And I mean, I know it's not okay and it doesn't feel okay, but what I mean by saying it's okay is like, this is not a unique experience. Everybody from time to time feels run down, and you're not alone. All right, so up next we have why I don't prioritize my own needs. 6 of Mirrors, Silver Lining, and Page of Swords. It's definitely giving mental math. It's giving, you definitely let your mind run much faster, and there isn't a lot of embodiment practices going on. And let me just tell you firsthand, pile number 1, I really understand this kind of situation just on a like person to person level. I really understand what you're going through. I might not know the exactness. I might not be exactly in your shoes living your same life, but this is something with like, it's almost like you let your mind convince you that you should just try and like mentally figure it out when, excuse me, in the past, maybe mentally you've been able to work through problems in a different way, but the coping skills that you have used from before aren't working anymore. And it's time to try some embodiment practices. It's time to try more grounding exercises. It's time to try bringing the body into the practice, because both of these cards are about the mind. And the Silver Lining, the 6 of Mirrors, this is about like journeying into undiscovered territory, like going through an initiation, going through an experience that maybe is one you've never had before, and it feels scary and it feels new. But ultimately, when you get to that other side, you're going to feel so much better. And the Page of Swords, this is having a lot of ideas, having a lot of overwhelm, having a lot on your plates, and maybe feeling like you don't really know where to start with it. So this is why you don't prioritize your needs, is you constantly put in mental effort when it needs to be more of, you need to find more embodiment practices. Okay. Next we have, how can I show myself it is safe to be me? The fans. And then we have the Queen of Diamonds. Oh, okay. So the fans, I actually, before I pull this card up close to the camera, I need to see what this card is because it's not the world. Let's see, the fans. So I think this is actually not justice, but judgment. No, that's 20. No, it is the world. The fans is supposed to be the world. That makes sense. In this deck, it makes sense that it would be the world. So because it's actualization, fulfillment, completion. Okay. I know exactly what this means. So I hate that this is a simple answer because I feel like you want something more complex and I can feel that in your energy. You have to start committing small practices to yourself because the more that you show yourself things that you can do and get out of this like mental freeze state and you show yourself through practicing something, it's going to show you how much you do care for yourself, how much you do value yourself. And you have to show up even when you're scared. You have to show up even if you're absolutely convinced it won't work. You have to show up anyways. And it's basically like the cards are basically saying that through completing tasks, through completing things and showing more love and self-care towards yourself, that's how you're going to show yourself that it's safe, is by belonging to yourself and showing yourself how to do that. And there's nothing wrong with like finding more tools, finding more people to connect with over this. There's nothing wrong with seeking more. And I speak from personal experience when I say this to y'all. I used to be someone that would like read self-help constantly, and I still do because I enjoy it. But the problem with that is you learn so many tactics, but if you're not embodying any of them and all you do is just learn and learn and learn, and you're not doing any embodiment of anything, it's going to tailspin you out. I'm sorry. I'm still getting over a cold, y'all. So I do have a little bit of a cough still. I was going to take a little sip of my water. So ultimately, you need to show yourself that it's safe by setting small, attainable, sustainable goals and then doing them. I also feel like having a dedicated self-care routine would really benefit you right now. And I know like it's not all love and light, y'all. It's not like the healing. I just posted something about this on my Instagram where like nobody talks about how when you get out of a dark place and then you backslide back into it, how hard that is to come back out of it again. Because now you're coming at it from experience, which is a great thing, but it isn't just sitting and telling yourself, I love you in front of a mirror and drinking water. Like, yeah, those are great practices, but sometimes it takes more. Sometimes it takes more. And so I say this with the utmost love and respect for you. It's okay to dedicate time to more. It's okay to try again. It doesn't mean that you're doing this like, oh, I'm doing my face mask, so suddenly everything's going to be okay now. It's how do you feel when you're doing these practices? And like something else that's coming through from your guides is like, do you do this so you can share it on social media? That is like a big thing in today's culture, is doing things just so you can share it. Or do you do things because they feel good to you? Focus more on what feels good and less on what looks good. Okay, now we have, how can I be more authentic? We have the 8 of Flutes with self-elimination and the World. Oh my gosh, you just got the World twice in a row because the Fans was a World card and then here's the World again. So the Eight of Flutes, you need to walk away from anything that isn't serving you. I know that's easier said than done, but it is time for a life audit, pile number one. It is time to get really, 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 really clear on what is serving you, what's not serving you, what's hindering you, what's helping you, and letting yourself walk away from things that cause you to self-destruct. So if not giving to yourself is causing destruction, you have to stop. If your job is causing havoc on your life, you need to start devising a plan on how you're going to leave that job. If your family is wreaking havoc on your life, it's time to start putting boundaries down. If it's friends, it's time to find new friends. If it's the way you nourish yourself, if it's not working and it doesn't feel good, it's time to I know that I keep saying this, but your problems are not unique. And I say this with love. It's not an insult. I'm not trying to say that you haven't been through some shit, because you have. What I'm saying is you're not alone. When we think that we are the only person experiencing something that's hard, we single ourselves out and we think that we are beyond healing and beyond help, which is one of the worst ways we can feel about ourselves. And I'm really sensing this from you, pile number one, that you think you're beyond it and you're not. Your problems are not unique. They are unique to you, but they are things that hundreds, if not thousands of people have gone through alongside you, before you. And there are people that have overcome what you're going through. Find those people. It's easier now than ever before to do that with the internet. Excuse me. Read a book on this. Find the Instagram accounts, find the Facebook groups, find local events. There are people that have been through what you've gone through, and they know the exact path on how to get out of it. It's time to do away with what's not serving you and decide to shift in a new way. Do you want to spend one more year of your life living the same way that you've been living? Because I guarantee you the answer is no. You don't. In order to see change, you have to make change. We have to go beyond the comfort zone. But that's how you find your authenticity, is by letting go of what doesn't serve you and deciding to really dig your heels in and go in a new direction. So up next, we have, what do I need to let go of? We have Keep It Chill and the Seven of Swords. So Keep It Chill, this is, it's the card of alchemy. I know that. It's temperance. It's balance. It's doing things slowly, implementing change slowly, deciding to do things slowly and not all at once. And the Seven of Swords, this is self-sabotage. Ooh, I just got the chills for you, bestie. This is good. This is good because there is a way out, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. Okay. If you have not done so already, I need you to do me a huge favor. Pile number one. If you have a Kindle, pause this video and go get it. If not, I always recommend going direct by direct. Don't go through Amazon. If you have a Kindle, obviously you're going to go through Amazon, or you could check your library. I know there's a Libby app or something you can use on Kindle, which would also be great. But you are going to search for The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. Okay. One of the best books I have ever read on this topic. Completely transformed my life. I've read it about 2.5 times now because it was so good. This book will teach you how to overcome self-sabotage. I promise. If you embody the tools that book provides for you, you will overcome self-sabotage. You will stop sabotaging your own efforts, and you will actually take your pain story that you are very attached to. I can feel it. I can tell. I can see it, bestie. You're very attached to your pain story right now. And it's okay. We've all been there, myself included. I'm in one of those right now. I get it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. But there is a way out and there is hope, and you don't have to sit in this. And the best way you're going to get out of it is by alchemizing the stories you've been telling yourself into pure liquid gold. Because you're going to be one of those people, pile number one. You're going to become the person that has found the way out, and you're going to be able to support other people through that. Promise. Then we have something you need to know right now. 7 of Cups and shoulder to cry on 10 of Roses. Okay. There is somebody in your life that wants to support you right now through this chaotic time. And something that if you feel like you have no one you can actually turn to, or that feels like too much, because I get it. You know, sometimes we feel like we can't rely on people in our lives, or we don't feel like we've built up that support system yet. I want you to, I'm giving you like a lot of practical advice, pile number one, because I think you're somebody that actually really loves practicality. And that's why Spirit is telling me to talk to you this way. But something that works extremely well is anytime I'm really in it, I'm in the trenches, I'm struggling, I'm suffering, I will turn to more of like my spiritual practice, and I will just ask my guides, you know, if that's God for you, if that's Mother Earth for you, if that's the ether, you know, whatever it is that you call it. I will literally stop myself, take a couple deep breaths, you know, make my stance grounded, make sure my feet are grounded on the earth. And I will just say, show me how it gets better. Show me how it gets better. And I will make this a dedicated practice every single morning when I wake up, every night before bed. That's all I have to say. Show me how it gets better. Show me how it gets better. And the way that I have had tools fall into my lap, certain people I've needed to talk to me, it creates this like miraculous chain of events. And just try it out and let me know how it goes. But with the 10 of Roses, there is a lot of overwhelm. I feel like you don't really know where to start. It feels very chaotic. It feels like you need a little bit more organization to move through what you're going through right now. And ultimately, you need support. And it's okay, it's okay to reach out to people in your circle and ask for support. It's okay to ask to be loved on, to be shown the way, to be helped. It's okay. And if there's somebody in your circle already that you know would know what to say, you need to rely on that person. And if they are unavailable, you got to ask if they're available, of course. But if they're unavailable, like I said, check out that book. Check out that book. See if you can get your hands on it. There's also our Discord community, which is always linked down below. There are other people that you could reach out to in our community. I don't know that anybody is trained, of course, on psychology or trauma informed things like that, but at least another soundboard just to hear, So that's something you need to know. Okay. And then lastly, we have a message from your guides. The Late Bloomer, Knight of Rings, and the Two of Swords. Something you need to know. I'm just trying to listen to your guides. I know you feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, but something you need to know is this was always going to happen. What you're experiencing, there was nothing that could have been done differently to avoid it. It was always going to be this way. And ultimately, it was always going to be this way because you were meant to facilitate the tools of it no longer being this way. You were meant to experience climbing out of this. You were meant to experience the gifts that come from climbing out. And again, I do feel like this is something that maybe other people have experienced this and it was never you. And you were like, oh, it was never going to be me. And now it is you. And you're experiencing this. It feels like later than everybody else, right? We have the late bloomer card. So it feels like we're getting to this kind of late. Everybody else already has known. And you're like, wait, what the hell? It's okay that it feels like you're late to arrival. It's okay. That means that there are countless other people that know and can help. Your message ultimately, I think, has been a lot about connectedness and support and finding support. Your guides also want you to know that you're not stuck, but you do have to make choices right now. You feel stuck, but it's because you refuse to make a choice. And not making a choice is still making a choice. And that it's going to be okay. Your guides want you to know that it's going to be okay. Excuse me. It's going to be okay. You are going to be okay. You will make it through this. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Be sure if you liked any of the cards in this reading that you check those out down below. Link is going to be at the top of the description box down below. All the decks I used today came from there. And also, if you liked this reading, be sure to check out my website, KhloeNegrete.com, where I did just put up a little mini restock. So this ultimate self-love reading, if you want one that's personalized to you, that's one-on-one, I send you the video after the reading has been done. If you want one that's personalized to you and your situation, be sure to head to my website and book that. And if you'd like to find me other places online, of course, I'm available at Kloee Taylor everywhere. Also, my podcast, I've recently come back to doing video podcasts. My podcast is called The Cozy Babes Club. It is here on YouTube. It is also anywhere you listen to podcasts. So links for that, of course, down below everywhere. I'm showing up in a bathrobe and a towel too, like a head towel. It's a pretty good time. I think my aesthetic is really killing it right now. So make sure you check that out. If you just want if you want more stuff like this, if you want more self-love, self-compassion, self-help, and also like wellness and like girly pop information. You know, I'm a certified holistic nutritionist. So I do talk a lot about wellness on my podcast, and I'd love to have you be a part of it. And I feel like also, if you need more resource, just something extra I want to mention, I do have courses available. I forget to talk about them all the time, but I have a course that's like a 4-week long one. And then I also have a course that is like $18 that comes with a workbook and some audio tracks that could really be like a big help right now if this was your pile. So definitely check those out. And sending you so much love this Valentine's Day. I love you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. And thank you for being part of this community, for seeing me and my authenticity, for holding my light as much as I want to hold your light. And just thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Before we get into your reading, I just want to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, which is Tarot Stack. Tarot Stack is an online website that is dedicated to getting independent tarot creators' decks out into more people's hands. Their decks are truly some of the best that I have ever used. Like, my favorite tarot decks of all time are all from Tarot Stack, all from independent artists. And the ones that you see in your reading today, every single deck is going to be from Tarot Stack. So I'm really excited to share those with you. And if you're looking for a deck for a special someone right now, or even just to update your own collection, or maybe you've never purchased one before, now is the time to start. Something I really love and appreciate about Tarot Stack is that their decks come from independent artists. So you're not hitting like that mass marketing that you can get on other websites. This is actually from people that want to get their decks out into the world more well known, and it comes from like a smaller creator, so you can rest easy knowing that you are supporting small business as well and supporting those independent artists that really, you know, I think they all deserve a chance. And I love knowing that, you know, I can have my integrity about me while I am shopping for something that I obviously really love to do. If you've seen my YouTube channel, unless this is your first time here, then maybe you don't know, but yeah, honestly, just check them out. You will not be disappointed. I truly believe they have something for everyone, and I hope that you find something that suits your needs as well. Who knows? Maybe you'll see something in this video today that really catches your fancy. In any case, be sure to check them out. Their link is going to be down below for you. It's tarotstack.com. And thank you again so much, Tarot Stack. I literally jump at every single chance that I get to work with Tarot Stack because They're just a company that I believe has a lot of integrity, and I'm so overjoyed that we continuously work together. So thank you so much, Tarot Stack. Now on with your reading. All right, pile number 2. Oh no, I'm sorry. I've got the wrong crystal here. Maybe that's a sign that you need to watch 2 and 3. Pile number 2 with the Aura Quartz. This is going to be your reading. So first we're going to go ahead and set the energy by using this root chakra chime bowl that a dear friend gifted to me. Okay. And we're actually going to start with the Cupid Says Oracle. We'll come back to this deck and another one, but we're going to start with this Cupid Says Oracle, of course, from Tarot Stack, and just get a few cards before we get into all the other questions that this reading entails. Ooh, you got a flyer. Oh, you got 2. Okay. So we got, I'm so excited for our future. So I feel like you have something really exciting coming into your future right now. Like, you need to be like getting excited about for what is to come next in your life, because something good is coming. And then we have love always wins. And I feel like ultimately this is something that you're like, these are just extra messages basically. So your guides want you to know that if you're putting out love, if you're vibrating at the frequency of love, and that is where you are residing, you're always going to come out on top every single time. Even when your feelings get hurt or somebody doesn't prioritize them the way you would, love is always going to win in the end. So like, keep being authentically your loving self. Then we have to the moon and back. Oh, I feel like this is really a sign that you need to get into like moon astrology. This is like, you need to be charting the moon a little bit more. I don't know how many of y'all that pick this pile are into moonology or like moon astrology, but this is your sign that you need to get into charting the moon a little bit more, because it might be just like a peak of interest that leads you down a really cool path. So now we're going to go ahead and read from a couple of other decks for all these other questions. So we're just going to give both the Final Rose Tarot, which is this one, a shuffle. And then we're also going to give the Gentle Heart Tarot, which is the other deck we're going to be using, a shuffle. Okay. Oh, these cards said just one shuffle, please. Okay. So I'm just going to set these over kind of off to the side, because we're going to pull from these throughout this reading. So the first question we're going to address is, how do you see yourself? Pile number 2. Pile number 2. We have the 4 of Flutes, Reflection, and the 8 of Diamonds. You are somebody that is really, 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 really self-reflective. You have a very deep internal world. Like, you might even be somebody that you can lay in bed at night and literally like imagine entire like movies or books or scenes. You are very, very, very reflective. You also ask the question like, how, or does this apply to me? Or if somebody says something about you, you might internalize it and really ask yourself, does that apply to me, or do I need to discard that? And then with the 8 of Diamonds, I'm just going to say it, and I'm sorry, I do think you're a little bit of a workaholic. I do think that you really prioritize your work over most things. And though this is not a bad thing, it can become hard. It can become something that doesn't really help you. But I do think you see yourself as a hard worker and somebody that's very self-aware and self-reflective. Okay, the next question we have is, why do I not prioritize my own needs? And like, I also want to state that you might be somebody that does, but right now you're going through a period where you're not, or something. Or when you start to not prioritize your needs, this is the reason why. We have the 9 of Flutes, Fantasy Suites, and the 8 of Cups. So what I'm really getting with this, when you don't prioritize your needs, it's because you're really, really lost in thought and in the imagination. Because literally you got the card of like fantasy. I also feel like, don't get me wrong, I love the power of manifestation and intention, but sometimes there needs to be like a break from that. And not that like, okay, hear me out. We're always manifesting. We don't turn that off. I know that like so many people will try to like give you a technique. I do think you can be more intentional about manifestation, but every day through your thoughts, your actions, how your life is moving, you are manifesting your next moment. You don't actually ever turn it off. So I do feel like sometimes there is this need to be a little bit more grounded and real, and you kind of like living in like the spiritual and ethereal, which nothing wrong with that, but sometimes it's too much and there isn't enough groundedness going on. Excuse me. Still getting over a cold a little bit. Sorry, y'all. And I feel like you also are very afraid of feeling the pain. You might be somebody that when you start to feel a really intense feeling, you'll tend to walk away from a person, a situation. And there is power in that. There is so much power in walking away from things that don't serve you anymore. But sometimes you do need to sit down and say, hey, is this worth keeping? Is this really worth continuing on? Is this something maybe once I've worked with myself a little bit, I can come back to instead of abandoning yourself or abandoning projects or creations? I also see with this, the Nine of Flutes talks a lot about content energy. And this to me also brings me back to the comfort zone. So another reason you don't prioritize your needs sometimes is out of staying in the comfort zone. And something I really want to illustrate for you is a really powerful tool that I'm going to give to you right now. Okay. I love being really practical in my readings. I think it's one of my strong suits, being a Taurus sun. I think I bring a lot of like practicality to my readings, but I'm going to give you a tool really quick in this reading. And this is how you actually exit the comfort zone. Okay. This doesn't come from me. One of my dear friends taught this to me, who is an incredible person. And basically, let's say that this is your comfort zone. Okay. Comfort. When we talk about leaving the comfort zone, we're talking about this ring right here. This is like just outside of your bubble. So like, to give you an example from my own life, because I think this really drills this in, I used to be afraid to just exist outside, like not like agoraphobia, like groups of like people or anything. It wasn't that. I love groups of people. I love being with others and with community. But just like literally being outside in my house, like just in my front yard or down my driveway, or I just had like this really intense fear of just like being witnessed while outside. And I don't know why. Couldn't tell you why that happened, because I used to spend countless hours rolling around in my parents' front yard as a child. And something that I started to do to just go right outside my comfort zone and into this zone here was I just started walking up and down my driveway, going and getting the mail, going down the driveway, coming up and going back down. And slowly over time of doing that repetition, I started to go down the street a little bit, and then down to the beach a little bit, and then over to the park close to my house a little bit. And so I would just continuously get myself outside. And I definitely still go through peaks and valleys with this, where I'll kind of fall back into my old comfort zone of staying in the house always. But I always know that I can start that tool over again at any time. Now, the problem is what a lot of you are doing is, instead of just going down your driveway and going back home, is you're going way out here. You're saying, I need to get out of my comfort zone. I'm tired of my crap. And you are going all the way out here to get out of your comfort zone. And the problem with that is you're shell shocking yourself. You're making yourself so afraid that now you never want to leave your comfort zone ever again. So we have to take these slow steps, and eventually the comfort zone will get a little bigger, and it will get a little bigger. And eventually your comfort zone, you'll be able to step outside of it and you'll get here. But you have to start with that intermediate ring first. We're going too much too fast, and you're flooding your system with all of this newness, and it's scary when you're not used to it. So it's okay to go slow. It's okay to just walk down the driveway and get the mail and come back and then maybe decide to do it twice the next day. You feel me? So you don't need to go way, 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 way out of your comfort zone to start to feel better. So it's all right. It's all right to just get a little out of the comfort zone. All right. So the next question we have is, how can I show myself it is safe to be me? I feel like I just kind of gave you a lesson on that, but we're going to look. We have the late bloomer, Knight of Rings, with the Page of Crystals. Excuse me. I'm going to take a little sip of water. Okay. The late bloomer with the Knight of Rings. This is basically feeling we need to get more into like romanticizing life and seeing what things we can create, seeing where our passion will lead us, seeing what we can do. Whenever you have a thought that says, oh, I can't do that, really sit with that and ask yourself, well, why can't I? Is there a legitimate reason why I can't do this? Or is it just fear that's getting in my way? So how you can start to show yourself that it's safe to be you is to really start to do the things that make you happy. Ask yourself what you did as a child that made you happy. I know that's such a simple question. Like, as a kid for me, I love playing outside. Like I would play in the gutter, which is so disgusting, but I loved it as a kid. I'd play in the gutter. I'd make little leaf boats on rainy days and send them down. I would play with roly-polies out in the front yard. I would pick flowers and make flower crowns. I spent a lot of time doing little things like that. And if I was inside, I was always playing dolls and coming up with like these elaborate stories for my Barbies. And so now ways that I can capitalize on that are by writing little short stories, or I can maybe even get invested in like a drama show for funsies, or I can go outside and practice grounding and maybe write like a letter to a friend while I'm out there. There are ways that I can get out there and do that connecting practice. But for you to show yourself it's safe to be you, it's okay if you want to reach back and get into those old childlike things. If anything, they're really healing. And I do feel like you need to get back into your creativity. That's something that's missing right now for you, and not creating so that you can make money or start a new business or start a new hustle, which are always great things, but getting back into creativity just to get into it for you. Now, the next question we have to be addressed is, how can I be more authentic? Oh, okay. You know what's interesting? I think you already are, because I got the free spirit card for you. And then I also got the 4 of diamonds. I think you already are really good at this, actually. You're really good at being your authentic self. You're really good at speaking your truth. You feel safe doing it. You feel like you have support in doing it. However, like whether it's from family or a community of some kind, I actually feel like you have this in the bag. Not to say that there aren't ways that we can do to improve, but ultimately I think this is actually a strong suit for you. And maybe when you heard the question in the beginning of the video, you were like, I'm not going to need help with that, because I feel like you already really own it. And if you don't, and you're like, that cannot be me, Kloee, another way to look at this is, to be more authentic, you need to start finding ways to support yourself in that, whether it's by talking to a friend that loves your authenticity, or, finding a group. I just put out a podcast this week on Monday. It's here on YouTube, actually, and it's also available everywhere you listen to podcasts. It's called the Cozy Babes Club. That's the title of the podcast. I just put out an episode on how to make friends in your 30s, and I gave you like 2 options on how to do it from bed without even leaving your house, and then a bunch of other stuff. But if you feel like this is you and you don't really have the community or the friends, and that's what you need to be working on, go give that podcast a listen. Totally free, unsolicited advice that has been working for me in new and interesting ways. So just something to note there. I do feel like support is something that would really, really, really benefit you in your journey right now, if you don't feel like you already have it. Now, the next thing is, what do I need to let go of? So right now, you need to let go of We got the villain and the Nine of Crystals. Interesting. Okay. The villain, which is the devil card. The villain is toxic behavior. It's like things that are addictive. It's social media in excess. It's things to excess. Social media, drugs, alcohol, too much TV. I always like to say that it doesn't even have to be things that harsh. There is such thing as too much of a good thing. If you eat too many carrots, you're going to overdo it in vitamin A, and that can start to cause problems after a while. There is always such thing as too much of a good thing. And what this tells me is you need to let go. You need to let go of this idea that you're always going to be stuck here with what you're dealing with whatever kind of temptation. I feel like truly sometimes even our own thoughts and our own, if you've been through a lot in your life, excuse me. Oh my gosh, the cough has been real today. If you've been through a lot in your life and you feel that you're too, it's like you've hurt too much to make a recovery. And this is always going to be your life because it's always been your life. You need to let go of that story. Let go of what hurts you. I also feel like some of y'all just need to cry. Like you need to just have a really good crying session about something. Catch me out here. I'm a Cancer Mars, so I feel like I just cry at the drop of a hat anyways, especially when I'm upset. I'm a crier. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm a crier. I cry over everything. But when I learned that crying is your body's natural release, it helps you release cortisol, which is the stress hormone that builds up in your body when you're stressed. It helps you naturally release cortisol. When I learned that, I don't hold tears in for nothing. If I feel like I feel tears coming, I am going to let those tears fall constantly because crying feels so good. It might not feel good in the moment. You feel like a sloppy, sad mess and, what have you. But after the fact, you feel so good and so healed that I'm here for crying. It's not my favorite activity, it's not my favorite hobby, but I love to cry. So some of y'all, I feel like just need to cry. You need to let yourself cry that things have been hard and it has sucked and it's been a bad time. It will not be this way forever. You're not going to be hurting forever. So you need to let go of this idea that you will, because you won't. Okay, next we have something you need to know right now. The Lovers and Temperance. The Lovers and Temperance. Things are about to get so good for you. The Lovers is not only loving yourself and integrating parts of yourself that have felt disconnected for so long, but it's also sharing love with another person and experiencing life with another person that just gets you on a level that nobody else does. Whether this is a friend or a lover or a partner, this is something that you need to know that this is coming. And it's always the darkest before the dawn, right? It's always the darkest before it starts to get lighter. And if you've been going through a lot, pile number 2, you need to know that there is going to be a way out, that this is being alchemized, and you are the alchemist that is creating this. You will move forward from this. It will get better. Things are actually getting better right now in the present moment. Now, lastly, a message from your guides. The cocktail party. Ooh. And then the 10 of crystals. Okay. So the cocktail party, I need to actually look at the guide for this one really quick because I'm not 100% sure. Oh, y'all, this makes me want to cry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Crying is so good. I love to cry. I just got done telling you that. Okay. So it's the star. The star in tarot is like my favorite card. Truly. I'm not kidding. It's my favorite. And I love when I see it because I know that there is hope. There is hope, and it feels like you have been really fighting an uphill battle with this 10 of wands, which 10 of crystals is like 10 of wands here. It feels like there has been so much pressure to heal, to get better, to work through something that's been really hard, to hold a lot. And you need to know that that pressure is about to be alleviated. The cocktail party is finding that support circle. It's having hope. It's that your wish of changing this, transmuting this, getting better, it's going to be granted to you. The star is literally the promise of hope and renewal. And I don't pull this card lightly. I know that when this card comes, it's like, it's the breath of fresh air that you've been waiting for. It's the inhale that you've been waiting for. It's the thing that you've been asking for and asking about. It's also a wish granted. So if there's something that you've really been wanting or needing, it's coming. And your guides need you to know that yes, it feels like a pressure cooker right now, but that will stop. This time period will stop. Things will change. It will get better. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Be sure if you liked any of the cards in this reading that you check those out down below. Link is going to be at the top of the description box down below. All the decks I used today came from there. And also, if you liked this reading, be sure to check out my website, KhloeTaylor.com, where I did just put up a little mini restock. So this ultimate self-love reading, if you want one that's personalized to you, that's one-on-one, I send you the video after the reading has been done. If you want one that's personalized to you and your situation, be sure to head to my website and book that. And if you'd like to find me other places online, of course, I'm available at Kloee Taylor everywhere. Also, my podcast, I've recently come back to doing video podcasts. My podcast is called The Cozy Babes Club. It is here on YouTube. It is also anywhere you listen to podcasts. So links for that, of course, down below everywhere. I'm showing up in a bathrobe and a towel too, like a head towel. It's a pretty good time. I think my aesthetic is really killing it right now. So make sure you check that out. If you just want if you want more stuff like this, if you want more self-love, self-compassion, self-help, and also like wellness and like girly pop information, I'm a certified holistic nutritionist. So I do talk a lot about wellness on my podcast, and I'd love to have you be a part of it. And I feel like also, if you need more resource, just something extra I want to mention, I do have courses available. I forget to talk about them all the time, but I have a course that's like a 4-week long one. And then I also have a course that is like $18 that comes with a workbook and some audio tracks that could really be like a big help right now if this was your pile. So definitely check those out. And sending you so much love this Valentine's Day. I love you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. And thank you for being part of this community, for seeing me and my authenticity, for holding my light as much as I want to hold your light. And just thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Before we get into your reading, I just want to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, which is Tarot Stack. Tarot Stack is an online website that is dedicated to getting independent tarot creators' decks out into more people's hands. Their decks are truly some of the best that I have ever used. Like, my favorite tarot decks of all time are all from Tarot Stack, all from independent artists. And the ones that you see in your reading today, every single deck is going to be from Tarot Stack. So I'm really excited to share those with you. And if you're looking for a deck for a special someone right now, or even just to update your own collection, or maybe you've never purchased one before, now is the time to start. Something I really love and appreciate about Tarot Stack is that their decks come from independent artists. So you're not hitting like that mass marketing that you can get on other websites. This is actually from people that want to get their decks out into the world, more well known, and it comes from like a smaller creator. So you can rest easy knowing that you are supporting small business as well, and supporting those independent artists that really, I think they all deserve a chance. And I love knowing that, I can have my integrity about me while I am shopping for something that I obviously really love to do. If you've seen my YouTube channel, unless this is your first time here, then maybe you don't know, but yeah, honestly, just check them out. You will not be disappointed. I truly believe they have something for everyone, and I hope that you find something that suits your needs as well. Who knows? Maybe you'll see something in this video today that really catches your fancy. In any case, be sure to check them out. Their link is going to be down below for you. It's tarotstack.com. And thank you again so much, Tarot Stack. I literally jump at every single chance that I get to work with Tarot Stack because they're just a company that I believe has a lot of integrity, and I'm so overjoyed that we continuously work together. So thank you so much, Tarot Stack. Now on with your reading. All right, pile number 3. If you chose, oh my goodness, excuse me. I've had a little bit of a cold, so please excuse if I have a couple of coughs here and there. I've got my water next to me today too, but if you chose the Rose Quartz Point, this is going to be your reading. We're going to go ahead and start this reading by just grounding ourselves with this root chakra chime. Okay. And then actually, let's put that over here. Put this over here. And then we will be using this deck in a moment, but we're actually going to start with the Cupid Says Oracle just to kind of get a bit of a vibe check in the reading. And then we'll go through all those other questions with a couple of other decks that I have here. Okay. Oh, we got 2. Might as well just take a third. Okay. So first and foremost, we have I've lost faith. So you might be somebody that you really used to be really into your faith of some kind, or maybe even in spirituality. Like you were really on your spirituality, feeling so good and connected and part of something. And suddenly it feels stale. And you don't believe it anymore, and life doesn't feel magical, and you've really lost faith in people, places, things, and maybe even your spiritual path. And I do want you to know that if this is you, we do currently have Saturn moving through the sign of Pisces. And I do feel that while this transit is going on, many people are going to experience crisis of faith. It's something that the masses are going through collectively. It's a big part of where we are as a, human consciousness. Then we have, I'm really sorry. Why are you sorry? I want to pose that question to you because I feel like you're feeling really sorry for yourself right now. It could be that you're sorry towards a person as well. That's definitely a potential. But I'm really hearing from Spirit that you are feeling really sorry for yourself right now. And then we have Take a Leap. So, what's interesting? Especially because you got I've lost faith and now you're getting Take a Leap. I feel like you're actually really meant to be reinvesting your time and self into your spiritual path right now and kind of just taking a leap of faith again, deciding to trust the universe, deciding to trust God, Mother Earth, whatever that is for you. I believe we're all talking about the same thing, but maybe it's your guides. You're being asked to take a leap and to just trust a little bit right now. Now, to answer all of those other questions that I addressed in the beginning of this video, we're going to be using a couple of decks. So we're going to start with shuffling the Final Rose Tarot. I love this deck. The aesthetic of it is so perfect for today. And it's just like a really beautiful deck in general. Like the cards are beautiful. Their messaging is beautiful. I'm obsessed. One more. Okay, and we're just going to put this deck right over here because we're going to draw from it consistently in this reading. And then we're also going to shuffle this Gentle Heart Tarot for you. I'm going to do it at least one more time here. Okay, and I'm going to set this off to the side over here because again, we're going to continuously be drawing. So I want to make sure that I have those. And let me go ahead and make sure I've got all the questions here. So how I see myself is going to be the first question that we have to address. So how do you see yourself right now? We have to be continued, the cliffhanger, and the 3 of crystals. So I feel, let me bring this closer. There we go. Oh, there we go. I feel that right now, oh, come on now. My camera really does not want to be present with us. I feel that right now you're really unsure of yourself. You're really unsure of yourself and your path. And you know that things are going to pick up again. You know that you're going to like be onto something, get inspired for something, feel creative again soon. And I feel like you feel that energy starting to come back to you. But right now you recognize that you're a work in progress. You recognize that, like, to me, let's say that you're like climbing a mountain to get to a peak right now. You're kind of stopped at like a village along the way. You're stopped at like a valley along the way. And you know that you're going to keep climbing. You know that you're going to keep going. You know that there's more goals, more things you want to do. But right now, you're kind of just suspended while you decide what those next moves are. And this is a really powerful place to be, even if it feels like you're kind of on this forced pause that maybe you don't even really want to be on. It's powerful because you get to decide from here. So the next question we have is why I don't prioritize my own needs. So why aren't you prioritizing yourself? We have the Bachelor and we have the 6 of Crystals. The Bachelor card, it's giving workaholic, bestie. It's giving that you prioritize your career more than anything else, which is funny because pile number 2 talked about this a little bit, but I feel like for you, you actually might be in a really successful position right now. Like, it's not that you're still building something. You're somebody who has already built something and you're trying to maintain that. You're trying to maintain your status, your position, and it makes you cast your own needs and feelings aside because you're afraid of maybe losing that position, or, you know, if you're in media or something, maybe you fear being irrelevant. Excuse me. You may fear becoming irrelevant or not like having the spotlight or the attention on you as much. I don't know why my camera just does not want to play nice with us right now. But ultimately what Spirit is saying with these cards is you're prioritizing work over yourself. You're prioritizing maybe even being seen or like being, it's like the 6 of Wands is like the peacocking or being famous or getting fame for something, or it's like, it's being like hot shit, basically like being hot shit in the room. And Spirit is ultimately saying with these cards that that is where your priority is. And so you haven't been very you are self-focused, but you're not self-focused in a way that actually is benefiting you right now. It is benefiting you for like long-term gains and such, but it's there's this lack of self-priority that I'm really feeling. Now, the next thing is, how can you show yourself that it's safe to be you right now? Oh my gosh, I just had deja vu, like really bad. That was crazy. Like, I just felt like I was reading this question in this exact situation, in this scenario, looking at this specific card. I just had some serious deja vu. If any of y'all are feeling that right now, that was crazy. Okay, so how can you show yourself that it's safe to be you right now? We have the Three of Flutes, here to make friends, and the Fool. So with here to make friends, Three of Flutes, you can show yourself it's safe to be you right now by recognizing and recommitting to why you're doing what you're doing. If you're here building something, this is definitely my entrepreneur pile. I read for a lot of entrepreneurs. Y'all are attracted to my energy because I'm an entrepreneur and it makes it easier for me to see this. So if you're not an entrepreneur, I would encourage you or like maybe you don't aspire to be one, I would encourage you to go back and look over pile 1 or 2. But this is definitely the entrepreneur's pile. Remember why you started this journey in the first place. You know, was it exciting? Was it exhilarating? Were you looking for community or like-minded individuals? I feel like you've gotten really like bored with the routine and the monotony of what you're doing, and you've lost sight of the vision of why you started originally. And to show yourself that it's safe, you actually need to start connecting with the individual, doing things with individuals, and also doing things that scare you. I feel like you've been doing like the same thing. Maybe you're filling orders or like the work that you've been doing has gotten a little stale, and you need to not necessarily over exert yourself or overcommit yourself, but with the Fool, it's like you need to get back into trying something new, doing the thing that you do in a new way, kind of revolutionizing what you already do. Or maybe this is going to sound crazy to some of y'all, but I swear to you, somebody here just really needs to hear it. You need to try out a new platform. Like, you might be like heavily invested in Instagram or sales or your website or your blog or YouTube or TikTok. And you need to expand yourself to another platform, like trying your hand at a podcast or trying your hand at, maybe you don't do Instagram and you need to get invested in Instagram, or you don't do short form content. Like that seems scary to you. I will tell you this, even without like spirit guidance from one entrepreneur to another, if you are not using short form content as at least a small fraction of what you do, you're shooting yourself in the foot in business. This is like the direction that the world is currently going. It's been going that way for a while now, and you're only hurting yourself if you're not using that to your benefit. So just put like, and I'm not a saint, trust me on that one. Like I've rarely put stuff out like that myself, but you can use it to your advantage. Find something that feels personal to your content. You know, like I know that we are the last people to say that like our lives are so interesting as entrepreneurs. Like who would want to actually see this? We think it's boring, but there are so many people that would love to see what you do on a daily basis because they're just curious. People are nosy. Like, don't you want to know what other people do? I'm not trying to have a big head right now. I'm just being real. Aren't you curious to see like what I do on a daily as a professional tarot card reader? Isn't that interesting? Like I, living my life, don't think that's interesting. But if I saw somebody else in my niche, like if the Gem Goddess started uploading little snippets of what it's like to do her life daily, I would be so interested in that. If Vanessa Samina did it, if Ace of Tarot did it, I would be so interested to see that. Oh my gosh, catch me over here doing this in the future. Follow me on Instagram. I'm at Kloee Taylor. But no, seriously, like you need to try something you haven't tried before and use this as a tool to connect with other people, not just people that are going to follow you and like support your content, but actually meeting people, meeting friends, meeting community. Like, I think it's one thing to have a connection with your community based on like you're the creator and they follow your content. It's a whole other story when you're here to actually like connect with somebody individually. Some of my best friends in the entire world I met through online communities. So I'm just going to throw that out there. That's coming through really strong for you on how you can show yourself it's safe to be you. You need to hear it from other people, and you need to try new things ultimately. Okay, the next question we have is, how can I be more authentic? Oh my gosh, you literally got the Emperor again. You are an entrepreneur. You have an entrepreneurial spirit. And then we have Keep It Chill, which is the card of alchemy. It's temperance. So using your platform, using what you do, using your work to show people, you need to be more real with people. You need to show, instead of just like always feeling like you have to show up with results, you need to show people what it's like to go through the hurdles that you go through. People care about that kind of stuff. And like, I've heard that said before, and I know, trust me, I know how scary it is. I know what it feels like to be in these shoes. You have to not use your social media for your friends and family. Like, yes, you can use it to connect with people that could be friends, but like, if you're worried about what your mom is going to think of your reel, block her. Like, I'm not kidding. I have my mom blocked on most of my social media platforms, not because I hate her, but because I use our relationship a lot as a teaching tool, and it's not for her. If she wanted to know how I feel about her, or we want to reconcile some things, she can come to me directly. She doesn't need to hear it that way. And it makes me, it makes it harder for me to show up authentically if I think that she's watching. So like, if that's why you don't do certain things online, you use that block button. Block and aggressively protect your energy from people in your life if that's why you fear putting yourself out there. Because you need to show people that it's okay to struggle. You know, with Keep It Chill, this to me is turning lead into gold. And to turn lead into gold, to turn a crappy situation into something better, you have to be willing to show that authenticity, right? To share of yourself in that way, to be vulnerable, and to do it in a way that will benefit you in business as well. You know, I think that's actually something, as I believe as an astrologer, that we are entering the age of Aquarius. In fact, I'm not so convinced we're not already in it. There's a ton of opinions on that, of course, for multiple different reasons, but Aquarius is the sign of authenticity. It's something that is valued. We want to see that in the collective. So share of your authenticity. And I know that's literally the question, is like, how can you be more authentic? You need to share more of the process, ultimately. Share your hard days. Share the things that scare you. If somebody comes through and uses that vulnerability against you, they don't need to be in your circle. Again, block and protect your energy. That's something that I will tell anyone. If you think that like my comments on my videos aren't policed heavily, you would be wrong. Like, I am, you know, I'm here for freedom of speech, but at the same time, use your freedom of speech. And this is like directed towards other people. Use your freedom of speech on your own blog, on your own YouTube channel, on your own Instagram. Don't come to my house, my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my podcast, color on my walls with your crayons when I didn't invite you. That's kind of my like take on, you know, some people won't delete a comment. They'll just let things sit there. I won't. My comments are heavily policed, and not only that, there's just so many things you can't even say in my comments because I have such strong filters on my stuff. And ultimately, again, that helps me to show up as authentically as possible. I'm telling you this not because this reading is about me, but because I understand this energy. I understand intimately what you are experiencing because I have been there. And it's the reason you were drawn into this reading. It's the reason you picked this pile, is because I can teach you things about that very practically. But ultimately, how to be more authentic, the long and short of it is you have to show more of the process and protect your peace as you're doing it. But like, use that in your work. It will help. Okay, now the next thing we have is, what do I need to let go of? The hot seat and the world. I'm so sorry for all the coughing in this video, y'all. I really do feel better. I just sound terrible. Now, I'm not 110% sure what this hot seat card is, so I'm going to look at it really quick. It's justice. Okay. If there was a time in the past where somebody really put you on blast or embarrassed you for who you are, it's time for you to understand that that's a thing of the past. People aren't just waiting, seething for you to fall. And even if they were, there are so many people, and you haven't even met them all yet, that are wanting you to be celebrated, to be risen up. And it's okay if judgment happens. This is very literal, I feel like. You're afraid of judgments, and everybody judges everybody. You judge me, truly. Even if you have a judgment that is a kindness, it's still judgment. Everybody judges everybody. It's literally part of human nature. And what someone thinks of you is actually none of your business. Truly, it lives in their mind. It's put through the lens of that person and what they think and their life experience. It doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it something that you now have to take up the mantle for. So just be advised that you need to let go of this fear of judgment, because it's keeping you small. It's keeping you small inherently. Okay, now what do you need to know right now? We have 9 of Mirrors, Blindsided, and the Lovers. There's a part of yourself that is wanting to be integrated. Because the 9 of Mirrors, this is the card of anxiety. The words on these cards is forcing my camera to refocus. It's driving me crazy. But the 9 of Mirrors is basically like the 9 of Swords. It's the anxiety card. And I love that this card is a mirror because it's asking you to look at yourself. And the Lovers is all about shadow integration, integrating parts of yourself that feel cast out. So what you need to know, especially building off of this last set of cards that we had here for you, you need to know that it's safe to allow all parts of yourself to exist. And if you feel like you need help with something like this, I'm just going to say it. I don't talk about this in every single reading, but I do have a course on my website. It's $18, and it literally will lead you through doing basically like a parts work meditation. And then there's a workbook that accompanies it. And this course, it will help you with that shadow integration. So if you feel like you need help and you don't know what I'm talking about, I would encourage you to take a look at that. Obviously, only if you have the space and the time and the financial means to do so. I'm never here trying to, sell you on more. That's not why I'm here. But if you feel like that's something you could really use, I would encourage you to check it out. But this is what you need to know. There's a part of you that's wanting to be integrated right now. I'm so sorry. Y'all, I'm actually wondering, because this is the first reading and I haven't necessarily filmed them in order, that I feel like my throat chakra is being really irritated. And I've been sick for 3 weeks. My throat hasn't been irritated at all. I've been doing lots of talking. I wonder if y'all have a blocked throat chakra. Because I honestly will pull in that collective energy. And so if y'all aren't using your voice to its full capacity, this can be a blocked throat chakra. So like also working to do like throat chakra meditation, listening to throat chakra music is helpful. Their vagal toning is a great way to release that throat chakra. But I'm wondering if this shadow that's coming through in this reading that you are unaware of has something to do with how you express through your voice. I would encourage you to dive a little deeper in that after this reading. And lastly, a message from your guides. Miss USA, the beauty queen, queen of roses, and the 10 of cups. So your guides want you to know that you have what it takes. You have the confidence. You have what it takes. What you desire out of your life at this time, it's not just made for other people. It's made for you. You have what it takes. And the 10 of cups, this also tells me that like, you're about to enter a period of your life where everything feels like it's going really, really well and really smoothly. And it's because of the work that you've done, you know, that shadow integration, working through this, that you're going to be able to experience that. So this is to me like a really promising thing for the future, really. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Be sure if you liked any of the cards in this reading that you check those out down below. Link is going to be at the top of the description box down below. All the decks I used today came from there. And also, if you liked this reading, be sure to check out my website, KhloeTaylor.com, where I did just put up a little mini restock. So this ultimate self-love reading, if you want one that's personalized to you, that's one-on-one, I send you the video after the reading has been done. If you want one that's personalized to you and your situation, be sure to head to my website and book that. And if you'd like to find me other places online, of course, I'm available at Kloee Taylor everywhere. Also, my podcast, I've recently come back to doing video podcasts. My podcast is called The Cozy Babes Club. It is here on YouTube. It is also anywhere you listen to podcasts. So links for that, of course, down below everywhere. I'm showing up in a bathrobe and a towel too, like a head towel. It's a pretty good time. I think my aesthetic is really killing it right now. So make sure you check that out. If you just want if you want more stuff like this, if you want more self-love, self-compassion, self-help, and also like wellness and like girly pop information. You know, I'm a certified holistic nutritionist. So I do talk a lot about wellness on my podcast, and I'd love to have you be a part of it. And I feel like also, if you need more resource, just something extra I want to mention, I do have courses available. I forget to talk about them all the time, but I have a course that's like a 4-week long one. And then I also have a course that is like $18 that comes with a workbook and some audio tracks that could really be like a big help right now if this was your pile. So definitely check those out. And sending you so much love this Valentine's Day. I love you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. And thank you for being part of this community, for seeing me and my authenticity, for holding my light as much as I want to hold your light. And just thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll talk to you in the next one.